Is around 22 people joined. Anyway, we'll start our session. Today, we will plan to converge all the content which is available in the syllabus, and anyway, we'll continue our session. In the meantime, we will discuss the current affair or any other the things we want to discuss. We can discuss. Yes, my slides are visible. Yes, this is what we have started yesterday. That is solid waste. What is mean by soil waste, and the disposal, and the things which is called as in waste, and concerning soil waste, there are three things which we were discussed in the yesterday's class. That is rubbish, refuse, and garbages or junk. Usually, the rubbish, that is the organic matter which can be decomposed by the microorganism, which usually called as in garbage, and the non combustible waste or categorized as rubbish, which is not the unused or refused things which doesn't comes under the garbage or rubbish or categorized as refuse, and the kinds of waste we were discussed yesterday. And okay, we were stopped here. That is acid rain, and what was the causes of the acid rain that we were we were stopped yesterday. And do you have any questions in the yesterday's class? Do you need any clarification?
Hello, sir.
Any clarification?
So when you will post assignment?
Yes, Vikram. Vikram?
When you will be going to share us assignment?
Okay, today I'll post the questions. Next week, before Sunday 5 o'clock, you submit the assignments. And in connection with the CT, we will decide the date of submission date of the assignment.
Okay.
Okay, we will discuss about CT and assignment at the end.
Okay.
Okay. Any queries related to the content? Any queries? Concerning today's class, last batch, you please unmute your mic from 51 to 58. Sri Risti, Tanmoy, Taranika, Mani Tiwari, Shushma, Venkateshai, Vikash, Vikram Vijay. You please unmute your mic. Yes, Vikram unmuted. Others, you please unmute your mic. If there is any disturbance, I'll mute. You don't worry. You please unmute your mic. Christy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you please. Say this. Tanmoy? Tanmoy Jijota. Please move. Tanmoy. Tarunika? Tarunika, you please unmute your mic.
Yes, sir.
Mani Tiwari? Utsav Mani Tiwari? Yes, Susma join. Venkatesai. Because
sir.
yes, yes, yes. You please stay with us. If there is any interruption, I'll mute. You don't worry about it. I'll mute. And any queries in the last yesterday session? There are few things we were discussed about the soil pollution, and in continuation with that content, today we'll talk about these soil pollution, the cause of soil pollution, impact of soil pollution, and remedies. These contents are derived from the YouTube. Anyway, I'll share the original link for knowing more about it. I request you to have a look at the various NPTEL lectures, because since the environmental engineering is a part of our syllabus, we can categorize our entire syllabus into 6 different units. Among the 6 different units, we were discussing the environmental with alone 2 units. The rest are we are discussing about the power plants, and how these power plants influences over the environment, how it affects the various, how it creates the pollution, how it affects the environment, how it causes the greenhouse effect, and that is why it was made up like that. And yeah, but there are various factors has to be discussed a lot with these air pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, and all other pollutions. Yeah, there are plenty of good lectures are available in NPTEL. If it is feasible, you please try to have a look at the those slides, and you'll get a very good idea about it. Concerning our syllabus, we were converged with that with our syllabus. So we are discussing, we are converging, and we are disseminating as much as feasible. So the soil pollution, in the yesterday's lecture itself, where we were disseminated what all the waste, and how these waste are categorized, and the kinds of waste we were discussed. And today's later part we will discuss about the solid waste management. And and the causes of soil pollution. Before knowing about the solid waste management, the causes of soil pollution. See, the deforestation is a major cause of soil pollution. What happens once we are removing, and we are trying to reduce the area or value of the forest? What happens? The soil becomes loosened, and once there is a heavy rain, and it tries to wash away, and the soil become infertile, and the deforestation influencing a lot soil pollution. This might be a very big cause of soil pollution. And what happened once with the top layer of the soil not alone washed along with the water due to heavy rain, what happens? It washes the basic nutrients which is available in the soil, that is also eroded, and it has to be transferred from one place to another place. And in continuation, the irrigation, see here, that is water logging during water logging conditions, the farmers are well aware about how much amount of water should be stored with the with the land. But during sometimes what happens, the excess water is dumped in the agricultural land, which usually closes the passage of the air to the soil, and so there won't be any movement from the to the core of the soil. And what happens due to that, the land become infertile. So over a period, if it is the scenario, it continues a lot for a long period. What happens? It makes the soil barren, and there won't be any use for that barren soil. And this is might be the second cause of the soil pollution. And the third one is toxic fertilizer and pesticides. And why we are using toxic fertilizer and pesticide, and what was the need for using fertilizers in the last centuries? And someone please unmute your mic and tell me why we are why on what basis we dependent over these fertilizer and pesticides. Someone. Sushma?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Sushma.
What was the question, sir?
What was the question? Now only you waked up,
No, sir.
huh? Okay,
Network
why
issues.
we are depending fertilizers and pesticides for our agricultural purpose?
Means to grow, means to remove that insects and all.
Okay. Okay. You
To have
tried
max
your approach in some other way to grow. You started to grow like that
to have maximum yield.
to have maximum yield. Okay, good. Okay. Why we need maximum yield?
Sir, as the
So
population grows.
increase drastically. So to meet the growth, we required some fertilizer, for instance. Yes.
Yes, of course, that was the scenario. See, there won't be any increase of land, but on a daily basis, the population increases a lot, and we need to fulfill the agricultural. We need to be surplus, or we need to be self-sustained with these foods. So that what we are trying to do, we are in the past decades, that is not in the past centuries, during 18th and 19th centuries, what we are we tried with these fertilizers and pesticides in order to make use of with available land itself. We have tried to increase the productivity, so that we dependent fertilizers on that day. We suffered a lot with the demand of the foods. What happened over a period? We were self-sustained, but still we are using fertilizers and pesticide. That was the issue. There is try to Google it. There is a green revolution in India. You try to Google it and try to know about it. And once we are self-sustained, what we need to reduce the usage of these fertilizers and pesticide. With the available resource itself, we have to we need try to increase the percentage of crop, the yielding percentage. And what happened? It was okay during the earlier days, and now what happens in the nowadays? The amount of fertilizers and pesticides making the land barren, and so the yielding ability of these foods, or the lands becoming minimal. On the other hand, the fertilizers or pesticide crop became poison for the insects. In continuation with that, it affects the human beings. So it become poisonous for us. The contamination of contaminations with these fertilizers and pesticides making our foods or poison. So this might be the cause of the soil pollution. And in continuation, just a minute. தம்பி, அதில் போட்டுப்பா. And in see the picture which details about the mining. What happens the with use, whether we can make use of this land for any other purpose, No, it becomes barren. So it won't be any use with these lands. And what we are trying to get the coals from the land, and it produces in some days and some areas. It gives the poisonous gases, and it affects the human and the surrounding subsequently. At some places, what happened, the metals like cadmium and lead or making toxic and contaminate the solids, and which subsequently making the use making the land or barren, and which becomes the unusable, so that it would be the next major cause of soil pollution. And soil erosion. During the earlier presentation itself, I have detailed about it. What happened with the aid of deforestation? What happens, the nutrients which is present in the soil also removed, and it has to transfer to some other area. And with that newer area, it might give a positive way. But what happens in which was eradicated from one particular place, in that area, that becomes unfertile. So the nutrients has to be kept with that original soil, in order to have a very good yield. It has to be stay with that original area. So the loss of fertile land for agriculture and forest covers the patches for grazing, and this might be the subsequent cause of soil pollution. And in continuation with that, we will discuss about the change in climate and climate pattern. And what happens if this is what the scenario, and it will affect the environment a lot. And it leads to the loss of weak ecosystem. It affects the ecosystem a lot. It affects the ecosystem directly or indirectly. It influences on the climate patterns. And during this time, we need to discuss about the global warming and the greenhouse effect. You please unmute your mic. The recent government taking various measures to have an attention towards the greenhouse effects and global warming. Since from your lower classes, that is from even 6th 7th standard till your high secondary, you are reading a lot about greenhouse effect and global warming. And even in UG, you are dealing with the environmental science. What is mean by greenhouse effect? And we are talking against the greenhouse effect. But the thing is, the greenhouse effect is good. And what would be good, and what was the content related to, we are talking against the greenhouse effect. Why we are talking about in a negative way, we are talking about the greenhouse effect? What causes the global warming? And you please someone unmute your mic and make a note about greenhouse effect and global warming. Someone from the last batch.
So,
Greenhouse effect is like a trapping of sun heat inside the Earth's atmosphere, which is good to maintain the temperature of Earth. But if pollution is getting increased, more heat is being trapped. Like the reflection which should be occur from surface, it is not occurring. So that can cause global warming and environmental change.
Yes, of course. Very good. Very good. In any other words? Yes, absolutely. Any other words? Some
sorry,
others
especially
please.
some of the gases some of the gases like CO2, methane,
Mm,
have trap the energy, solar energy. So the increases of CO2, it trap more solar energy. So the earth temperature is increased.
Yes, of course. The radioactive gases that absorbs the wavelength which is longer than 4 micrometer, usually called as greenhouse gases, whether it might be a methane or nitrous oxide or halocarbons or principal greenhouse gases. What happens? These greenhouse gases making the earth as a thermal blanket. So as your friend detailed, that is not maintain a constant temperature. It is good. The greenhouse effect is good, but what is bad with that greenhouse effect is the excess greenhouse effect is bad. Once it due to the increase of these CO2 or methane, what happened? The effect of greenhouse effect is also increases. So it increases the atmospheric temperature from the normal temperature, whether it might be a 32 degrees Celsius or 33 degrees Celsius, due to the industrialization or due to the development of innovations of technological development, or the number of vehicles increased, and due to the various household devices like air conditioner or refrigerator, what we are depending on the energy. Greater amount of energy is needed. So for increasing energy, we are trying to enhance the energy. So we are depending on the fossil fuels, so which subsequently increases the amount of the emissions, whether it might be carbon dioxide or any other hydrocarbon, say whether it might be a methane. So the amount of these carbon dioxide and hydrocarbon increases the greenhouse effect, which the earth started warming. So, Shubham, in continuation with that, you please make a note about the global warming. Shubham Kumar. Shubham Kumar. He went. Sushma.
No, sir, sorry, sir. Some network problem.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sir, can you repeat the question? I could not.
Global warming. Make a note about global warming.
I think global warming is the same that greenhouse effect is causing, like it in temperature of Earth is increasing, and due to that, the ice in Antarctica and other glacier regions are being melted, which can cause the uh, coastal region to be sink in upcoming year, like important ports of India like Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. These can be submerged in water in upcoming year if the global warming is continued.
Yes, very good, very good. So that is what the increased effect of greenhouse effect causing global warming. That is what the global warming, which should be the greatest or biggest threat for humankind. Talking today, increasing the temperature changes overall climate of our planet also increases a lot. That is what which is presented in the slide. So we call this as climate change, and this the contaminations of the air pollution or the soil pollutions subsequently causes the climate. So the climate pattern itself that is changed. See, we are struggling the monsoon. We are getting delayed monsoon, and the during rainy season, what happened? We are not getting the required amount of rain which was forecasted or which was expected, and like that, there is a huge change in the climate pattern itself. So that has to be controlled when we are having attention or control over with these greenhouse effect or global warming. This will be minimized, so we can make this climate pattern as it was. So the what was the effect or the impact of the soil pollution with the human health? So what see, as I said earlier, what happens, we are taking the pesticide fed foods, so it creates various diseases. See here, it creates the skin disease, and beginning we are inhaling the contaminated gases. See, from the industrial or vehicle contaminated gases we are inhaling, the polluted water we are drinking, and we are taking the foods which is contaminated from the earth. So these the subsequently causes. See here, the soil contaminated by the pesticides, and water polluted by the bacteria and chemicals, and the air polluted, we know, by these the particulate matter and ozone, NOx and SO2. And this subsequently causes the skin irritation and nausea, and we even it leads to the cancer risk and gastroenteric problem and cardiovascular illness, and even the air pollution causes the respiratory illness, and on the whole, the all the pollutions creates fatigue and headache. So we have to be very conscious with these the pollutions. The environmental impact we were discussed during the in the past slide, that the soil erosion. What happens? The deforestation leads to the soil erosion, and which makes the soil bad, and the which transferring the basic nutrients from the one place to another place, and this causes the global warming, the greenhouse effects, and the irregular rainfall, the climate change, and there is a pattern change in the climate. And so the what happened on the other hand, the distraction for the tourists. See, when there is an clean environment and a very good atmosphere, and the people wants to visit with those places. What happens with the landfills? See, there are some landfills pictures detailed at the bottom. Whether we like to visit those places, no. So it indirectly influences over the economic of the state, whether it might be a state or the country. So the distraction for tourism happens due to the impact due to the soil pollution, and this is what we were discussed earlier. The wildlife, the insects will affect a lot due to the impact of the chemicals with the water, and which was consumed by the various insects, which affects a lot, and in continuation, what happens, the biomagnification will occur. What might be the biomagnification? Someone, you please tell me what is biomagnification. Biomagnification, we were in one particular class we were designated the content about biomagnification. What is biomagnification?
The presence of harmful chemicals in the environment. Like, for example, if you see cadmium and all, because of e-waste, it gets spread in all of the crops and all what we're eating. Then we eat those crops, it comes inside our bodies, and like that, a complete jail is
Yes,
formed. So,
exactly. That is what the biomagnetism. biomagnification. See, directly we are taking the pesticides and fertilizer through the foods. Indirectly, we are taking the whether it might be a fish. The foods might be zooplankton. The zooplanktons are taking the water might be the basic food, but the water is already contaminated. We are again indirectly we are having the contaminated food. That is what the biomagnification. That this is a larger impact of the soil pollution. On the what was the thing? In a direct way, also we are suffering a lot due to this soil pollution. In an indirect way, also we are suffering a lot with these the chemicals and other fertilizers. And see here, the water algae consuming water, and the algae eating insects, and the insect eating the insects, and the fish eating the insects, and the larger fish having taking the small foods, and again the human taking the fish which consumes the contaminated water. So what we are suppressed a lot by these various pollutions, whether it might be a soil pollution, or it might be a air pollution, or it might be a water pollution. So these causes various health hazard, as detailed in this picture. So what happened? We should be well aware about these three R. In the yesterday's class itself, I have detail. In some lectures, it would be 4 hour. In other lectures, it would be 5 hour. Anyway, the basic 3 R would be reduce, reuse, and recycle. And the remedies, what we can do with these climate, or with these global warming, what we can do, what is the remedy for reducing the soil pollution? The garbage disposal. The proper garbage disposal can lead to reduce the soil pollutions, and proper landfill or proper incineration plants will reduce these soil pollutions in a greater way. See here, the papers are collected in one particular bin, and the glasses, plastics, and other metals are collected in a separate bin, and the waste collectors are collecting the waste with the gloves, using the gloves, and they are having separate polythene cover for collecting various garbages. So like that, we can do a very good disposal system, garbage disposal system, that might reduce the soil pollution. If we are doing in a regular way, it should have a greater impact over the reduction of soil pollution. And what happened? What we can do? We can reduce the usage of these plastic bags in our day-to-day life. Say no to plastics, and try to use bags which is made up of the other conventional materials. And the the proper waste management system will influence a lot during the reduction of soil pollution. And what happened on the other hand? What happened when we are trying to we are always trying to cut down the trees? What we need to remember, once we are trying to cut down one particular tree, we need to grow 2 trees would be the very good remedy for this reduction of soil pollution. And try to grow more number of trees, and which would avoid the deforestation. And biofertilizers. And see, the recent agricultural people are thinking over the usage of biofertilizers. And what happened? When we are switch on to using these biofertilizers, the natural pesticides, and it won't harm to the human being, so that we can reduce the soil pollutions, and on the other hand, it won't affect the land also, and land will be land we can further use of these lands for the for subsequent yields. And this what about the soil pollutions, and in the subsequent slide we will discuss about the soil waste management. And any queries, anything do you want to discuss?
Yes, sir. Today we have Jyotsna's birthday, sir.
Yes, yes, Josna. Yes, our representative. Yes, right. Just now, you please unmute your mic.
Yes, sir.
Yes, many more operators of the day, Josna.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, at present you are in
Chennai.
Chennai. Chennai. You
Yes.
belongs to Tamil Nadu.
Yes, sir.
Yes, very good, very good. Where you did your schooling?
Maharishi Vidya Mandir.
Maharishi Vidya Mandir. Okay, good, good. Okay, okay. Go ahead, dear gentlemen and gentlemen. You can wish your friend.
Happy birthday, Jyotsna.
Have a great birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday,
to
Jyotsna.
you.
Happy birthday, Josh. Happy birthday, Joshua.
Happy birthday, Jyotsna.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Jyotsna.
Happy birthday, Jyotsna.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, good. Good to hear so much of wishes. Anyway, read a lot. Read well, Josna.
Thank you, sir.
Reading uplift your the current portion, and it gives your dreamed portion to read well.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And for all, you please try to think over the various administrative posting, and you please try to look at these the UPSC, and try to place over the UPSC portions. And once you take statistics, the number of persons who got posting in the UPSC with the engineering graduates, you please try to look at those statistics, and if it is interested, you please select UPSC as a future, and you please have a look at it.
Yes, sir. In our class, many students are interested.
Pratmesh is actually preparing for UPSC, sir.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Pratmesh, Shubham, and many more. Tanmay,
Yes, yes, yes.
Akshat. These are
Even
prepared.
Pranav is preparing, sir. Like he has joined classes for that.
Pranav.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Pranav is also.
Yes, yes, yes. See, Pranav, have you joined in which academy? Pratmesh, yes, just a minute. Pratmesh, you are doing your preparation with which academy?
No, sir. No academy. Like I am thinking of doing it, sir.
Yes, you start. It is the right time. During first year itself, no, it is very good time, and you can make use of these syllabus with mechanical engineering. Yes, Pranav.
Sir, like I learned from Pratmesh, sir. Like he teaches me like every weekend, little bit here and there. So, yeah.
Yes, yes. See,
He's mentoring me in this journey, sir. Like so.
who is mentoring? Pratmesh mentoring.
I said Pratmesh only, yes, sir. Like
So
he
daily he
teaches me
sends
like
his notes and
Yes,
current
sir.
affairs.
He make notes from newspaper every day, sir, and share with us.
Yes, good. It was good. See, you are at present you are in which area, Pratmesh?
Maharashtra, sir.
Maharashtra. Then you have a number of academies. The
Yes,
academies,
sir. But like
I
due to
didn't
COVID,
suggest.
most of them are locked now, sir. Like due to
Yes,
Yes,
sir. We
COVID,
also
so
have online
online
academies
preparation is
like
given.
Unacademy.
Yes, even see the environmental title is available, even available with the Sankara IAS Academy. The Sankara IAS Academy having a number of video lectures over these environmental engineering. And in connection with Tamil Nadu, we have the Aringaranna IAS Academy. Even the government is also having one separate academy called the Aringaranna. And the Saidi Duresami Academy is also good with that the IAS coaching and TNPSC. And you have a target to high level so that you can achieve in one particular day you'll achieve.
Yes, sir. Right
Yes,
now,
sir. Like we have an academy also, sir. Like Pranav is, I guess, preparing from an academy.
and sir,
An academy.
Prathmesh suggested us about a CAD Boost new platform, which is right now
Okay,
available.
good. Anyway, good. Anyway, good. See, some in some areas, students started to learn from 6th standard. See how they are planning and how they are learning. But don't bother about it. This is the right time. Starting reading from the first year, you can even crack with your at the age of 21st itself. During your first attempts itself, you can achieve a good rank. So read a lot, but you need to spend a lot with the textbooks and various other books. But the important changes which is made in the past decade is the main subject. Usually, we need to prefer during the past decades. When students want to attend UPSC, UPSC mean they have to expect into different field. But what happened, they have changed, and it is enough to have the expert with one particular subject. And fortunately, we are doing engineering. Among engineering, what are the subjects have you aware? What are the subjects are available in UP's list? Engineering subjects.
Yes, sir. Mechanical, electrical, civil. These are the subjects we can pursue in UPSC also.
Yes, these three subjects alone we can prefer. Fortunately, you can prefer mechanical. The thing is, as we are production engineer, we were concerning syllabus. We were unaware about these IC engines and the cycles. So please think about it. Please learn a lot about these cycles. Frankel cycle, Carnot cycle, and those other cycles, those with thermodynamic cycles. As we are production engineers, the syllabus having very less attention towards these thermodynamic cycles. You read a lot with these thermodynamic cycles, you can easily crack the examinations. You parallelly.
Like,
Pardon.
so like we can give the exams from mechanical domain, right?
Yes. Parallelly, you read a lot the current affairs. You read a lot the history, and you read a lot the various other subjects. It would be around 9 different subjects, and even you have to be. You try to read the various interview questions, and that will help you to attend the interview. Yes, good. If it is feasible, we'll discuss a lot, and I will continue with this the waste management. What we need to do, we need to segregate with these collection, transportation, and disposal. And this in this way we can discredit these as I discussed earlier. These are prepared from the open source. Anyway, I'll share the link which in which I have prepared these slides. I'll disseminate. And the collection, transportation, disposal, and how we can collect. We can collect the plastic waste, metal waste, and general waste in a separate way. And we can use the large number of the larger dustbin which consumes larger volume, and we should provide the collection with the name itself, it has to be separate with the plastics, and as I said, metals. And usually what happens, we can divide into degradable and non-degradable. In one particular lecture, they want to segregate with dry and wet waste. And what we can do, in recent days, the all the municipalities are trying to collect by door. They are collecting these domestic waste, and we can see the rack pickers are around in and around. We can see the rack pickers. They are contributing to the waste management, and they segregate the recyclable material, and they are trying to convert into a usable product. And the collection has to be transported, and it has to be disposed in a proper way. And the rack pickers and the waste handlers has to be ensured with the usage of those gloves and the other precautionary kits they need to use. But in practical, they are not using those with our hands, and they are not well aware about it. But we need to insist those waste collectors with the usage of those gloves, and they need to be very keen with the segregation, and during collection also, during disposal also, they have to be very cautious. And what happens, it directly affects the health, and subsequently, once it was affected, any one person affected, and it even affects the environment. So what we can do, we can be cautious with these handling itself, which avoid the further the illness. So open dumping, this is what the picture for the open dumping and landfills. And this won't be such, these three usually won't be suggested for doing the disposal. And see the incineration, which we were discussed, that was suggested for doing the waste handling. And decomposition, what happened, the composting, what happened is the composting would be the very good replacement for the pesticides and fertilizers, and this will give the enormous energy to the crop. And so this would be the very good replacement for those fertilizers. And what, on the other hand, we can reduce the source itself, we can reduce the usage. So we need to keep it in mind with these 5 as we discussed. There are 3, or here the 5 R's revealed with solid waste management. One is refuse, that is refuse. We need to reduce the refuse amount. The second thing is reduce. And once it is not feasible to refuse and reduce, we need to think about the reuse. And once any component is repaired, what we need to repair, and we need to do we need to make use of the repaired component, and then we need to think over the recycle. And this 5R is very important: refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, and recycle. And the role of individual in prevention of the pollution. What we can do for the soil pollution, for the reduction of soil pollution, and this is what we can do. The less non-degradable, we can use the less non-degradable materials, save electricity by using more natural renewable energy, and the water, that is use water in proper and judicious manner, and more plantation, we can grow more plants, use good quality fuels in automobiles, and reduce the use of automobiles, minimize the use of pesticides, fertilizers for the agriculture. And this is what we can do, and this is what the source which I have collected. And that's all about the soil pollution, soil management system. Do you have any queries with these slides? Anyway, you please look at the various other slides also. Is landfills and advantage and disadvantage. The incinerator, the conventional incinerator. Usually the questions are asked by the solid waste management system and the incineration. I make a detailed note about the plant and the incineration plant, which reduces over the soil pollutions. And the advantage of these and 3 years as I going to make a detailed note about the acid rain, the sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide, which was the major cause of acid rain, and which is the exit of the automobiles and the industries, and these sulfur and nitrogen becomes sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides with the environment, and which is taken from one place to another place, and when it was mixed and which reacts with the water, and what happens, it makes rain as an acid rain. So this acid rain, what happens, deforestations will happen due to this acid rain, and so due to that deforestation, we were discussed, the soil erosion will occur, the land become barren, and the nutrients transferred, and so that the acid rain has to be taken a serious issue with the soil pollution. See, the NO2 and SO2 becomes HNO3 and H2SO4. Solid management, solid waste management. And the types of municipal solid waste management system. This is what the types of municipal solid waste: the sewage treatment, residue, industrial waste, rubbish, demolition waste, construction waste, garbage, and dead animals, and the elements of the municipal solid waste, and handling with these municipal solid waste, understanding the characteristics, usually classified into physical and chemical characteristics, and waste generation collection, the factors influencing MSW. And that's all about the soil pollution. Any queries? And this is what our syllabus. I think we were covered almost above 90%. I know there are some left out with the syllabus. Anyway, those I request you yourself, you can read those titles, and I think with today's lectures we can wind up our entire class. Any queries? Any queries? Have you discussed about the Ankit? Have you discussed about the CT?
Yes,
I think before 25th is preferable, Ankit, because during the first yes before 25th you please try to schedule the CT, because once the CT is over, you can prepare for your end semester. See, we need at least 1 week time to evaluate the paper and script. In the next week we have the end semester. So,
so
before,
what will be the patterns?
What will be the
pattern for CT2?
CT2, the content which was covered after CT1. Entire syllabus.
No, sir. Will it be MCQ? Microsoft form.
Oh, earlier I have said about MCQ. Yes, anyway, I'll consult with my friend and I'll let you know whether it might be.
That will help you like correcting the paper.
Yes, if it is MCQ, we are not going to evaluate. Anyway, you consult with your friends and try to converge before 25th.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Yes, sir, no problem. Okay, okay. Today I'll upload the question paper for assignment, and I'll make it as 27th. That is Sunday. Before 5 p.m. you can submit the assignment for 5 marks.
27, sir.
27th before 5 o'clock.
Okay, sir. No.
Okay, okay. Any queries and any discussion? It is always welcome. You please continue with the WhatsApp group. We'll discuss there if there is any hurdles. Yes, Vikram. Yes.
Sir, will you please extend deadline up at 12?
Yes. Tell me the deadline. You yourself tell me. Before July, you tell me. 4-5 marks. Why you are hesitating? Only 4-5 marks. Yes, you have a conversation. Let me know.
Sir, he was saying that instead of 5 p.m., if we keep it at 12 p.m. It's like 11:59 p.m.
No issues, no issues. Okay, we can give it as 12 noon. Whether it is okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, read well. I think I have tried to cover many things. In the today's lectures also I have highlighted that is due to the industrial revolutions. What happens? We are depending on energy due to the industrialization. We are depending on various the fossil fuels, and these fossil fuels suffering the environmental a lot. So the syllabus packed in that way, and we were not touched those impacts of those the thermal power plant, the environmental impact of those the plants we were not discussed. Anyway, you please refer some textbook for reading those contents, and I try to converge all the titles. I think in some classes you enjoyed a lot, and do well, read well, and try to achieve a very good destiny. And all the best. If it is feasible, we'll continue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.